Hi, I'm Raymona Holten. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, home of the International Balloon Fiesta. I'm here to show you how to make a simple balloon decoration for a birthday party, balloon fiesta, or any other event where balloons might be appropriate. I love CakePlay's stencil mat. This item was made completely using CakePlay products and the stencil mat. I'm here to show you how simple it is to do. First, you have to find a design that's going to work. The next thing I did was decide my pouring pattern, because all of this is what we call casting sugar. It's all poured into sections. So this will be the first thing I pour. The things that connect to that will be this section and this section. Then I can pour these two sections and this section and this section. So I had to figure out how to transfer my design from here onto my silicone mat. Now, I'm going to be using a Sharpie, which is not edible. It will write on the silicone, but it will also write on the plastic covering the silicone. So to transfer the design, I have a piece of styrofoam, just a piece of junk styrofoam, and I'm going to take a toothpick, something with a sharp point, but it's also got some width to it. And I start punching holes all the way around the design. And when I finish punching all the holes, I take my little magic marker, and I find that it works better if I put my magic marker right in the center of each and every one of those holes. And we're going to pretend that I finished that. I don't know if you can see that, but there are a bunch of lines here, little dot dot. Magically, it's finished. So what I do is I take my magic marker and trace those outlines like the old dot to dots. I don't know, do kids even do those anymore? And I trace out my design quickly. And if I don't match the lines, it's okay. It's pretty freeform. Once I have it all marked out, I need to get my lovely cutting board and my X-Acto knife. And then all you do is you take and follow that line all the way down and cut out each section. Now, I'm not going to take the time because nobody really needs to watch me do lots and lots of lines. Suffice it to say that this piece will come out. I will peel off the protective cover, and that leaves a place to pour. Now, that's not where I'm supposed to pour first. I'm supposed to pour here. So, by the magic of my wonderful kitchen here, I have a balloon already cut out. Now, you really can't see the lines because I've removed the protective cover. But I will use my guide that I created for my pour guide to pour. So the first section I want to pull out is this little section right here. See that little hole right there? So I'm going to pour that with red. To make my red, I need to take some CakePlay white, just a couple of pieces, and a handful of red. Doesn't really matter. CakePlay is reusable, so if I make too much color, I just pour it out and save it for later. So let me glove up. And I wear cotton gloves underneath my gloves because my hands perspire. That soaks up the moisture. Now, I've used a couple of little stirring sticks to make sure my color was all blended. And now I'm going to carefully pour this little section. Okay. Now, if I go a little bit over, I'm not too worried. I'll take one of my little sticks here and sort of move it back in. You also want to make sure that you get the Isomalt all the way to the corner. So, and I can just clean that off a little bit later. So I'm going to let that sit and cool, because in order to get this little line that's here between the two sections of red, I need to let it cool between pouring this section and the next section. It doesn't take very long for this to set up. See, if I poke this, it gives a little dimple, but it's stiff enough that it's not going to move when I pour the next piece. So I'm going to pull out this section, and now I'm going to pour the center section of this balloon in red. And like I said, I want to make sure that I get that it goes all the way to the edges. That's what we do. So now you can see there's a little bit of a line between the two reds. The next thing I would pour would be pulling out this section here, which I would with clear. But I have more magic. Look at the magic. It's all poured and ready to put together in a piece. Now, to make it look more like there's someone in it, I took an edible marker and drew lines, and I put the little silhouette of a person in there. Now, my basket is made with CakePlay bronze. I waited until it was just, you saw where I was touching, it was still leaving a little tiny mark, and then I used my PME tool here, it's got a little edge on it, and I cross-hatched it to leave the basket shape in there. So now I'm going to show you how to put this piece together. And I want to be able to put my fingers underneath it to lift it up and off the table. So to do that, I'm taking a little bit of the clear, and I'm just dropping my nib a little bit in there and put it right here, because I'm going to make myself 4 little feet. So I have a way to pick this up. Now these nibs are pretty much all in a uniform size, so it should make things fairly level. But remember, this is sugar, so if it's not level, who cares? You know, we're not going to keep it forever. At least I don't plan on it, which is one of the reasons why I love working with sugar. I don't have to worry about dusting it. Most people I give it to are happy to get it, and then it's their problem what to do with it. So now I have my base. All right, Isomalt is very temperature sensitive to shock. You can heat it up slowly, you can cool it slowly, but if you heat or cool it fast, it will crack. And there's nothing more upsetting to see something you've spent hours on suddenly go shatter, and it shatters beautifully. So I'm going to give this just a little bit of heat, because now I'm going to start putting together my city. First, I'm going to start with my mountains here. My mountains are the Sandia Mountains. They're pink because that's the color our mountains are at sunset. Sandia means watermelon. So, to attach my mountains to my Isomalt base, I pour a thin strip of the heated Isomalt and then drag my mountain range through, and then place carefully on my base. So I'm going to move this over just a little bit, because now I want to work on the upright where the balloon is. Now I wanted my balloon to be in flight, so I cut another mat in this shape, sort of looks like moving. And now I need to attach my balloon, which is right here, to my air. And I'm going to sort of figure out where I want it to be. I think that looks pretty good. It'll be high enough above the city, but not too high. So to attach this, I'm going to once again use my fancy little nibs, and I'm going to turn my balloon over. I'm going to pour. This makes a big mess out of here, but I'll reuse that. I will pour a little bit of this, and I'll stick it on a couple of places on my balloon. And I'm going to put it here because I really want a good attachment. So once again, I'm going to heat this up because this big piece of Isomalt could crack when I put hot stuff on it. And this is still pouring pretty good. So once again, I'm going to pour another glob of this out. But this time, my trick is I need to try and get both of these nibs just touching in that, just enough sort of like super glue, and only I think it works faster. And I put it right there, let it rest. I'm going to make sure that that was a little straight. You can move it a little bit but a lot of times once you put it down, it's there. So I think this is pretty set. Let's check her out. See, we're suspended in the air. Once again, I need to heat my Isomalt that I'm going to be putting stuff on just a little bit so I don't cause it to have any shock. And I'm going to pour another strip. And this is going to go in the middle ground of this piece. So I'm going to turn this way so I can look at it up and down, just try and get it up and down straight. Doesn't always happen, but I do try. So I'm going to slide this, get a good amount on it, and then I'm going to set this. Does that look like it's pretty centered there? Sit this here. Now, if this was a real heavy, heavy piece, and I was worried about having it and bracing it, there are little molds for cubes and round things, so you can use those and sort of help support things behind there. But it looks pretty close to done, and I've got more threads. But now I have my balloon in the foreground. It's going up. Now I need to get Albuquerque. This is sort of, well, it sort of resembles Albuquerque. These two towers right here are really very noticeable in our skyline. So this is Albuquerque skyline. I'm going to heat, just be careful on the, better to do a little cautious and not cry afterwards. So I'm going to pour. It's getting sort of thick, but that's okay. Pour me a strip here. I'm going to slide this Albuquerque through, get a good amount on it, take it over here, try to line up the corner to the corner, because once I set it down, it does not like to move. And guess what? We now have Albuquerque, the Sandia Mountains, and a balloon in flight. No hands. All done. So, let me show you a couple of things about the mat that is really nice, because the balloon, the cityscape, and the mountains were all made for this piece, cut out of one piece of mat. So I'll pull that up. Now that I've used the mat, it can be reused. All I have to do is, just like the puzzles, remember those simple puzzles you did as a child? You just put all the pieces back, right back in place, and you can make another balloon following the same thing that you did before. So if you needed, 3 or 4 of these for table decorations, and as far as that goes, if you wanted to make it two-sided, you could just make your base a little wider, make another city, make another balloon, and attach it to the other side, so you have a two-sided centerpiece. And these mats, nothing's wasted on these things. So I can put these pieces, I'm just missing a piece here. But the mountains and the city were cut all out of the same mat. Here are my mountains. To make the mountains, I simply put 2 pieces of heat-proof material on either side and something on the bottom. Here's my city. Same thing. Just put 2 pieces of heat-proof mat and something across the bottom, and then I poured my city in black. And that's how I made Albuquerque with balloons. Thank you.